okay, I'll check my email. And naturally, it was like the second email from the top. So I opened it. I didn't have a choice. I was the only one there. I was at work. And so I opened it really hesitantly because I was like, oh my God, my stomach just kind of went when I saw that it was there. But, and then it was kind of like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm like, I should, I don't know. So it was such an amazing feeling.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hanging Out with Successful Bar Exam Takers. We got a great story for you today. This is Judy Cox, and Judy has passed the Massachusetts bar exam. Hallelujah. How are you, Judy?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Jackson.
This has got to be just such an amazing time for you. Just before we went on, I asked you how many times you had taken the bar because I had actually kind of lost track. Go ahead. Why don't you share with
So
our
did
audience?
I.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us
um,
what.
7 or 8 times, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very discouraging.
Yeah, that's very discouraging. But you passed in July 2017,
Yes.
and you passed with a few points to spare. I mean, you weren't just like right at the number. You went over the top on both essays and the MBE, right?
Yes. Yes, definitely. We had to have a 270. I got a 273, which wasn't, way over, but anything that's over 270 is fine by me. So,
Right, and 270 is a really high score. I mean, if you compare that to New York or New Jersey or DC on the UBE, they're 266. So
yeah.
it's a tougher exam for sure because, it's Massachusetts, and why wouldn't it be? Uh, so I don't know. And if you start in on the Patriots, so help me God. All right,
Oh, I
so,
won't.
okay, thank you. So let's back up a bit. And why don't you tell our audience a bit about your background and what led you into taking the bar exam and kind of what that journey's been like a bit for you over the past few years.
Okay. Well, I started my journey late in life. I started in my mid 30s for getting my paralegal associates and then my bachelor's. And I've been a paralegal mostly for solo practitioners for 30 years, a little over actually. And I had gotten to the point where I had, to me, I felt like I had gone as far as I could go being a paralegal and I wanted to go further. So the next logical steps, law school. And so I started law school in 2010. And by that time I was in my, I was 50. So, it was kind of like, oh my God, you're going to law school at 50. So, yeah, but I did and, enjoyed it. And then, so when I got out of law school and was going to take, my first bar, I felt so confident, and I answered all the questions and, all the essays with with a little bit of time to spare. None of them really hit me hard. And so I was feeling kind of confident until I got the results. And, it was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And at that point I had started with Kaplan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I went with Kaplan for that time and the next time. And the next time was even, it went down. And I think I went down pretty much when I started using the Celebration Bar Review. I was down 23 points.
Okay.
And it was awful.
Right. So you've been through 4, maybe 5 tries at that point.
Yes.
And did you take any time off, or did you just go exam to exam?
No, I went exam to exam. I
Okay.
used Kaplan to start with, then I incorporated some of the Barbary books as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I went with another private tutor because I had gone back to the school to ask, what am I doing wrong? And I had someone that told me, oh, well, they tell you to answer like thousands of MBE questions, but that's not really where the score is going to be. That's going to be in your essay. And I'm like, okay. So I ended up going with another private tutor. And, that I came up a little bit, but again, nothing. So like I said, when I started with Celebration, I was down 23 points. And I
Okay.
just didn't know what else I was going to do.
I think a question that people might ask is, why didn't you give up at that point? Why did you stay at it?
I don't give up. And by that time
This
it
is
was,
true, folks. She does not give up.
I don't. By that time it was like, I am not letting some test beat me. There's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's not happening,
Yeah.
um, so, and then when I got to 1 point away I was really mad. So it
Right.
was really
Let's
not going to look.
let's talk about the 1 point away because you came to us, you
Yes.
studied, and you came up
Yes.
1 point short.
Yes.
And that was a hard boy. That was a hard call. I remember that call.
Yeah,
Do you
that was
remember
really,
it?
I do. That was really, really hard. Oh my God. I mean, you're not only dealing with your own disappointment, you're dealing with everybody else's disappointment who knew you took it. So it's kind of like, oh my God. And having to tell them again is like, I was so mad. I was so disappointed and so frustrated. It was like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
But
But you said an interesting thing in that call. I don't know if you remember it or not, Judy, but you said, I'm going to grieve this for a short period of time, and then I'm just going to get back at it. I'm just
yeah.
not going to give up. Can you talk
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit about that?
Well, to me, it's like I had come so far and I knew I could do it. It's like, there's just no way. I mean, over my 30 years of experience, it's like I researched the law. I, did briefs and motions and this, that, and the other. I knew the law. It was just a matter of how do I get it? I mean, I would go from raising my MBE score, then my essay would go down, or I'd raise my essay and my MBE score would go down. It was a matter of getting them together. And you helped me with that. I remember that conversation. But it's just like, it's, you just, at that point, it's like, no, there's just no way. I am so close. And if I can bring it up 22 points, I sure as heck can bring it up at least two to get
Yeah.
past that, that lip. So there was just a no.
Yeah, and I thought at that point that your sort of grit and determination was going to be enough to carry you through. But I also love the fact that you were willing to say, you know what, let's just do what we've got to do. Let's make it happen. Let's find
Yeah.
the tools. And one of the tools that we embarked on was photo reading, right?
Yes.
Can you talk a
Yes.
little bit about photo reading and what that is and how it worked for you?
Well, photo readings is basically you're looking at the whole page or the whole 2 pages of the book, and you're not really focusing on any specific word. You're just kind of keeping it all in your vision, and you're flipping through the pages very regularly, and you're just kind of counting it out, as it were. And you can read it frontwards or backwards, or I would also go upside down. But I did have, when you're first starting photo reading, it's really difficult to trust it because it's like, how is this helping me? I'm not really looking at anything. It's just like, I'm not really seeing these words as they're going by. How is this helping me? But, I stayed true to it, and, I kept the belief and I kept doing it. And so whether it was flashcards or the books or my notes or, the tests themselves and the answers, you know, I would photo read everything. So, but it's just a matter of, you've got to believe and keep trying it and keep using it as much as possible. Anytime you read anything, photo read it first.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, things that you're stuck with or you're stuck on in your studies, write them down and ask a question about it, and then go back and kind of do the tipping and skimming through, because you will find the answer. It'll come, but you have to trust in the process, and you have
Yeah.
to use the process.
Yeah, and that trusting the process is a big deal because, I mean, as many times as you had banged your head against the bar exam wall, you were right to be skeptical. I mean, what is this going to do? And yet, one of the things that was so wonderful is that you just said, okay, I'm going to do it. I don't understand how it works. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm willing to try it, and I'll keep
Yes.
doing it, and I'll keep pursuing it. And you could kind of sense, there were some moments where you got really frustrated because your practice scores were not great, right? You
Right.
were doing multi-states, and they weren't great. And what did that feel like to you at that point? I mean, photo reading, my practice scores aren't looking fabulous. What do I do here?
I mean, you're frustrating. It's frustrating, and you're kind of like, well, I must be doing something wrong, or this isn't working for me. What do I need to do different? But I just kept the course. I kind of let the frustration come, let it go away, and then just got back into it, and just kept using the process and trusting in the process. And it got to the point where it was like, okay, this is cool. I remember one of the tests, that was toward the end, and it was, I think it was the 99 test. It's supposed to be the harder one. So, and I know in your in the study schedules, it says, expect your score to go down. And the last time I had taken it, my score went up. So I sent you a message of, well, what does that mean if my score goes up and I'm supposed to expect it to go down? And you had a little sarcastic thing that, but it was kind of like, that was a moment where I'm like, it's working. This is great. So I kept going and using that.
Yeah. And so when you went to the exam, what was your confidence level like in July going to the exam?
It was fairly high. I mean, I tried not to get too confident because I had been there before, and I mean, I didn't have trouble with the test for the most part. Any of the times I've taken them, I finished all the questions. None of them really hit me up. Oh my God, what is it? So I tried to kind of keep my confidence to not, I don't want to say to a minimum, but to a reasonable level, because you always know that you may feel great about this test, but you're going to come out of it and something's going to go wrong. So
Yeah.
I tried to be reasonable in my confidence level, and just kind of take it as it was each day, each section. The morning section, um, just do it, just go into it, and then let it go when I walk out. Same thing, with the afternoon sessions. Go in, clean slate, start fresh, let it go when you leave. I know there are people that would have trouble in the first and the entire break. They're just breaking down because now they're still worried about it. But it's kind of like I have to leave it there because now I don't want it to affect what I'm doing in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I've got to get it out and let it go. And that's how I just kind of approached it. It was like I just went in and you know been confident that I've done everything I can do, and I stayed true to it, and I used it every day, and I practiced it, and reread it and photo read it, and sitting in the parking lot before the test, I photo read everything.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
right. And how many times would you say you photo read an outline on average before while you were studying?
I would say at least 2 times a day. Um, Sometimes more depending on my confidence level with the material.
Okay.
But usually I'd say on average at least 2 times a day,
So
five,
maybe you,
five,
yeah,
6 days a week.
yeah. So you probably photo read each outline 20, 30 times at least, right?
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Um, and once you kind of get into that flow, that's just what you're doing, right? You're photo reading, you're activating, you're doing
Yes,
question practice, and so on.
definitely.
Okay. Now, you were working while you were studying still, right?
Yes. I
Yeah.
was working full time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how many hours a week did you study leading up to the July exam?
I studied at least 3 to 4 hours every day.
Yeah.
I think I took one day off just to veg for that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually at least 3 to 4 hours a day.
Yeah. What was that like for your family? You've been through this for so long, so many frustrations, so
Oh,
many disappointments. You're working, you're studying.
oh
There's a
yeah.
toll on the family, isn't there, when you do that?
Oh yeah, definitely. And then you get the results and it's like, oh, really? I've got to do this again. So yeah, it's very difficult. I had wonderful support with the family. But it's difficult. You spend all your time studying and, or, well, we're going to go this way. Can you go? Or do you have to study? Well, yeah, I have to study, type thing. But one thing with you guys, with the celebration bar, it's not like I'm putting in 8, 12 hours a day studying. 4 hours. I cut it off at 4 hours. So whether that was, during the daytime when, things were slow at work, and then, a couple hours at night, um, that's the way I did it. So I could still spend, maybe an hour or two quality time with the hubby. But for the most part, I was studying, and it was very difficult because we like to do stuff together and can't do it. I'm studying,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
wait until the afternoon, or tonight, and maybe we'll do something. But for the most part, it's really difficult. But they were he was really great, and my family was really great, with the constant support. Even when I got the results that I weren't passing, it was just like,
Yeah. That makes a big difference, doesn't it, when you get that
it
support from your
does.
family?
It does. It does. My boss was great with it too, so that helped too.
Well, so I think one question people might have is, look, there's a lot of hardship here. There's a lot of challenge, and you're working through all this, and you've got a good job. Why? I mean, why do you want to be a member of the bar, right? I mean, Can you answer that?
I've always I've always loved law.
Okay.
I've always loved and respected the system. And I'm a great believer that it works as long as everybody else that is involved in the system does their job. And I got to the point where there wasn't anything really else I could do productively toward supporting that system as a paralegal. And I did as my paralegal job over these 30 years. I basically did everything except argue the cases in court. Even though I was in court with my attorney or whatever. So, that was just the next logical step. And I just, as corny as it may sound, I feel like I can do something, to help. I can do something to support the system to make sure it works right. Um, and that's one way to do it. I'm too old to sit there and be, have a boss. I want to be able to set my own hours and take the clients that I want to take and work until I don't want to work anymore. So that's another reason.
That's
And
awesome.
law is one of those that, I can, if I own my own office, I can set my hours and say who
Yeah.
I can represent. And,
Yeah. When I talk to students who've passed, one of the comments I get a lot is, "I have my life back."
yeah,
Does it feel that way to you?
it does. It does. I mean, I know for the first probably week or two after I got the results, it was like, oh my God, I should be studying, right? And they're like, oh no, I don't have to study anymore. It's like, okay. So, I mean, they asked me so things have changed, right? And I'm like, well, yes, but no. I mean, yes, I don't have to study anymore. And yes, I don't have to pay the bar fees anymore. And I don't have to go through taking the test. But, it's still early days. So I just got sworn in last Tuesday. So I'm still in the process of getting everything
Yeah.
organized and stuff for that office. So, I'm still working with my boss in the same office. So yes, it's changed. Everything has changed, but in a way, it's still kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So, talk a little bit about what it was like going into the bar exam this time. You're going back for multiple times. You're coming in. Now you've got photo reading. You've been doing some different things. You've come really close. I mean, one point is just excruciating. What was your mindset going into the exam in July?
My mindset was, I'm not taking this again. It's like, this is it. I'm going to pass it this time because I'm not taking this again.
Okay.
Especially at that time, because at that time, it was originally that Mass was going to start doing the UBE starting in February. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I am not doing the UBE. So I was passing it this time. That was just, no, there was no question. I just
Yeah.
couldn't do it. So, that's the way I went into it. It was
And
like,
then, of
this,
course, in typical math style, they said, "Yeah, we're going to push that back to July."
yeah, we're going to push it back to July. It's
Okay.
like,
All right. So, I mean, I think you're past the tougher test, to be honest. But okay. So you go through the test, and
mhm.
now there's a fairly long waiting period
Yeah.
afterwards, which you've been through
Oh,
before.
yes.
What's the waiting like for you?
Not as hard for the first couple of months because you know it's down the road.
Yeah.
So you're able to just kind of push it aside and kind of put it there back in the little corner somewhere for the couple of months. Now, when October rolls around, now you're starting, okay, it's coming out soon. It's coming out soon. And then you get the email from the bar examiner saying, okay, results are going to be out on this day. Now it's kind of like, oh my God, type thing. So, the last week or so is when the nerves start kicking in, the butterflies, I'm going to be sick, and then you get the email and it's like, do I want to open it? Do I want to open it? So it's
Well,
the
so
first
tell us,
couple,
did you open the email, or did you have somebody else do it for you?
well, no, I opened it. I had a friend of mine who also took it. And we had talked about after we knew when it was going to be, the email was coming out. And she said, well, I'm not going to open it that day. I want to wait until the night because it'll come out like first thing in the morning. I'm going to wait until that night because I've got court something and I don't want to be thinking about it all day. It's like, okay. So I was going to wait until that night too. I get a text from her telling me that she hadn't passed, that she had missed it by 3. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I thought you weren't going to open it until tonight. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. I'll check my email. And naturally, it was like the second email from the top. So I opened it. I didn't have a choice. I was the only one there. I was at work. And so I opened it really hesitantly because I was like, oh my God, my stomach just kind of went when I saw that it was there. But, and then it was kind of like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm like, I should, I don't know. So it was such an amazing feeling. But, it's like, you don't know what to do with yourself. It's like, what do I do now? I literally reread the email like 3 or 4 different times during the day to make sure I hadn't misread it. I really did. I was like, no, I didn't misread it. Okay, good. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. Now, and that's such a wonderful story. During the time that you were studying, you took this time through. You were in the basic coaching, but you had done some personal coaching before. But in the basic coaching, you participated in our group coaching calls through the Facebook group, right? You were you were working with Kelly. Can you talk
Right.
a little bit about that? Because you've been a really not only, I mean, one of the great things about our course, I think, is that we have these coaching calls and Facebook group. But then when people pass the bar, many of them, like you, have stayed in the group to offer encouragement and advice and suggestions. And you've been really wonderful, just even since the results came out. But can you talk about what it was like to be a student in that group and what difference it made for you?
I, I felt really comfortable in it because you have people who are in your similar situation. They've taken it multiple times, or they're having difficulty in this one section, or and or they're having difficulty combining working full time and studying. So it really helps to know that you're not alone.
Mhm.
Everything that you think you're going through, somebody else is going through too. And it helps kind of, bouncing ideas off each other of, well, this is how I kind of make it work. And that's really helpful, not only just the camaraderie of I'm not alone, but it gives you some ideas and techniques of how they do it and are able to make it work and fit it
Yeah.
with what they need to. And that's great.
Yeah. And we really appreciate the fact that you've been so gracious to give your time and thoughts to existing, current students. It's kind of
Hey,
weird, isn't it? You flip the script and you're like,
I
hey,
know, but hey, we got to support each other,
that's right.
it's
That's right. It's a
great.
very supportive community, which I love.
It is.
Well, let me just ask, what made you choose Celebration Bar Review? I mean, you've looked at you've done Kaplan, had some bar review materials, you've used another private tutor. What was it about our course that stood out to you that made it appear like something that you wanted to try?
Liked the hands-on, as it were. I know with Kaplan and Barbary, it's kind of like you're sitting in a room and you're watching the video and filling in the blanks. You're getting different people telling you how to do your essay, and they're contradicting each other, but there's no really contact. Um, Even with the private tutor that I went through before you guys, when we would have our meetings, it was like 5 minutes long. It was like, "How you doing? Any problems? Okay, we'll talk to you later." So I really like the hands-on that you guys offered, as well as the support and the little the oh, I'm drawing a blank. You post the sayings and
Oh,
the
the inspirational memes, the
thank you.
affirmations.
Yes, those ones. I love that. I
Okay.
would find, see something that would just hit me.
Shout out to my staff that's really good at doing those
Those are
because
great.
I
I
have no
love
artistic
those.
skill at all. Okay, yeah, they're
Those
great.
are
So
great. I mean, I would, it's something, one of them would hit me or something, or more of them, and I'd print them out and I'd put them on my bathroom mirror so I saw it all the time.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that really helped, and I liked the process that you guys go through, and the fact of no, you only study this amount of time because anything else is just too much. You're not going to
yeah,
retain it. This, that, and the other. So it's kind of was a combination of a lot of stuff,
yeah.
but I really appreciated it, and I really liked that format.
Right. And if somebody asked you whether or not they should use photo reading as part of their studies, what would you say to them?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. It does take a little bit of time to
yeah,
get used to it and to get comfortable with it. And then it takes more time to trust the process of it. But definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Cool.
It's
Well, I know that there are going to be people watching who are in a similar position where whatever jurisdiction, whether it's Massachusetts or UBE or another state, have taken the exam multiple times and they're just discouraged. What would you say to them at this point? What, if you were talking back to past you, now on this side of it, what would you say?
Have to make sure it's what you want. If this is, if being an attorney for whatever reason is what you want to do, you've got to keep pushing forward. It will come. It's a matter of, they say it's all in God's time. It's all in God's time. It may not be yours,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll be there. You just have to keep pushing yourself, keep going through the process, and keep trying. You can't give up, because if you give up and this is something that you really want to do and you give up, you will regret it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's, so just keep trying.
Yeah.
Just believe that it will be there when it's time for it to be there.
Well, I can't add anything to that. I think that's awesome. I am so proud of you, Judy. I know that this has been a really tough, long struggle for you, but the end result, the opportunity to be a member of the bar, to be sworn in last week, to start your own practice in your own life, to get all of those opportunities. I think it's safe to say that, you may have started later than a lot of people, but you didn't start too late. And you still got a lot of opportunity to
I
make a difference,
do.
right? Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
right. And
And so,
I couldn't have done it without you guys. I really couldn't have. I
well,
thank you
thank you.
so
Thank you. That's why we do what we do. And, there's no happier moment for me than hearing somebody's past and then getting to do these conversations. I know you've seen some of these interviews we've done with other people.
Yes.
Did you ever picture what it would be like when you did your interview?
I really didn't. I guess because to me that was still out there. I was
Yeah.
like, I had to pass the bar first, so
Okay.
that was my main focus. That's step one. So,
And now you've done it. So there you go. Yeah.
yay.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. I know it's going to inspire a lot of people. It's going to encourage a lot of folks.
I hope
And,
so.
we really wish you the very best. Thanks for sticking around and being in our Facebook group and supporting our current students. That means a lot to me, and I know it means a great deal to them.
Um,
And I'm excited to see what happens for you. I just think, the people that persevere, I say this often, but they're the people I'd want as my attorney. I really want
we
somebody
are
that's going to stick with
stubborn.
it. Yeah, I want stubborn. I want, I'm going to do it no matter what. And I
That's
think
right.
you really personify that. And I'm so glad you didn't give up when you came so close. That you stuck with it. You hung in there, and you shot through the passing score. And that's a great score that you got. That would have qualified you under the UBE terms for virtually every jurisdiction in the country. So
Yeah.
it's not like you just sneaked in, okay?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I am very, very proud of you. So I want to thank you, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group. And to all of our audience, I want to thank you guys for watching and being such loyal listeners and followers of this series. And we'll be back again soon with another interview. Thanks. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Jackson.